All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I got a brand new video for y'all. So today we have some pretty damning new ads released by both parties. We have some other stuff to talk about too related to Canadian politics, including the federal leaders debate. So this is what we have right here. Federal leaders debate scheduled for April 16-17 in Montreal. Carney won't participate in TVA debate. That's what Liberals confirmed. We'll talk about that in a sec. But first, I want to watch this clip of a 3-minute clip of a documentary the Conservatives released. It's about a 13-minute documentary. I haven't watched the entire thing. I haven't watched this either. But basically, they say, watch Carney in the coal mine. A dive into the greedy, aggressive tactics of Mark Carney's company and how it made money by denying care to hardworking people. If this is how Mark Carney's company treats sick workers, how is he going to treat Canadians? So let's watch this. We're going to react to it, and I'll tell you what tell you guys what I think about it.
I'm 75, and look what I'm doing.
I loved it. Used to work out and play softball on the weekends and just things I can't do anymore.
Meet Tony Corianis and Kenneth Phillips. They both used to be coal miners in the United States until their careers were halted by black lung. Why should this matter to Canadians? Well, because Mark Carney's company, Brookfield, was making money off the backs of these gentlemen and many like them. With Carney at the helm, Brookfield launched Brookfield Reinsurance, an insurance division operating out of Bermuda, free from Canadian regulations and taxes.
One of the big strategic initiatives that Brookfield has taken in the last few years is to build an insurance business. In
2023, Brookfield bought Rockwood's parent company, Argo Group, for $1.1 billion US. Despite Carney's insistence on everyone else getting off coal, with Rockwood, he was making money by denying black lung treatments and benefits to sick coal miners and their families. Carney and his Brookfield buddy Bruce Flatt saw the insurance business as a cash cow.
So it's just sort of an addition to our overall business, and it gives us large sums of money.
Just over 3 years ago, Kenneth wound up in the hospital with a bout of pneumonia. A chest x-ray revealed he had black lung. He was prescribed an antifibrotic medication called Ofev. The problem? Ofev can cost up to $14,000 per month.
So I've been dealing with Rockwood over that whole time, trying to get them to pay for it, and they finally just told me that they weren't paying for it.
He was finally cut off by Rockwood for good in January of this year. There's no sign he'll be able to get back on this drug that can keep his disease at bay. Workers have difficulty getting even the most basic benefits from Rockwood. In Tony Corianis' case, Rockwood fought him all the way to the United States Supreme Court.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're wondering what I'm looking at the side, I'm actually just researching all the facts that they brought up related to Brookfield. And I have some fact checking for you guys in a second.
And I want my wife to have compensation after I'm gone. So it's in their best behalf that you're dead and gone.
There are far too many cases of Rockwood fighting against coal miners to list. Billy Mullins, Dennis McCracken, Robert Lee, Truman Nieper, Robert Rule. But hey, the less money spent on these folks, the more Carney and Brookfield get to keep, right?
It's going very well.
Nothing's fair anymore.
If this is how Mark Carney's company treats sick workers, how is he going to treat Canadians?
Good luck.
I believe I'd vote for the other guy.
Okay. So it's authorized by the chief agent of the Conservative Party of Canada. So that's interesting. I do have to note, though, that Brookfield Asset Management is very different from the entirety of Brookfield. Okay, so they said Brookfield, and they made it seem like Carney's leading Brookfield. Carney didn't leave Brookfield. He led Brookfield Asset Management. And Brookfield Asset Management was not the one that made the unilateral decision with this company. Okay, they weren't unilateral decision makers. This is Brookfield Company that made it, and yes, Bruce Flatt was the guy that did that. Bruce Flatt is the chair of all of Brookfield, so that's different. So they made a lot of lies. I mean, they lied again. I mean, I'm not really surprised. Conservatives have been doing that in a lot of their videos. But then again, we have to call out where they start making stuff up. I have multiple stats right here, or multiple sources right here corroborating the fact that Brookfield Asset Management was not involved with Rocktown, which was the company that he was referring to, or that they were referring to over and over again. So it's not really, a question of Mark Carney hating sick workers. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that the conservatives are clearly just lying right now. They're lying, and this is not a good move politically when you start lying. Now, I don't know how many people could fall for that or are going to believe it. Seems like a lot of people did, because if you take a look, a lot of views, man, 309,000 views. I don't think every single one of those people did their due diligence to research the facts about it, but nonetheless, it's still an ad, and I think, they say propaganda wins a lot of things, and if you can have a strong enough propaganda machine, because this is propaganda in my view. I think this is clearly not, I'm not denying, putting aside the workers and their complaints, when you're building the entire story on a lie, which is that Mark Carney, as the chair of Brookfield Asset Management, was the guy who made this decision, it's false. It's false. So we can't keep saying and can't keep pretending that this is true. I do apologize if the sun is shining a lot, but we have another ad right here. Hopefully this one's better. Carney sold out Canadian jobs, investment in energy production when he was the chair of a multi-billion-dollar company. How can you trust him to stand up for Canada now? If Carney wins, Canada loses. That's our big thing. Let's watch it. Let's watch it.
First and foremost, I think what President Trump wants, he wants several things. He wants good, high-paying jobs in America. He wants more investment in America. He wants repatriation of many American industries and firms to the United States.
I think it's easier to deal, actually, with a liberal.
First and foremost,
Okay.
I think.
Interesting. Carney sold out Canadian jobs. Okay. I think, again, this is a weak argument, guys. This is a weak argument, man. We can't keep going back to this. But, I tend to always... Because I watch all their ads. Pretty much all of them. And I swear to God, it's the same two things. Carbon tax and this. I can tell you right now, first of all, many of the stuff they say is not true. That's number one. Number two, the average Canadian voter does not care. Get that in your mind, Pierre Poilievre. Get that in your mind, Conservative Party. They don't care. So switch your tactic. It's not working. It's not working, because what we're seeing now is this. We're seeing this, guys. 194 seats for the Liberals, according to the latest Palace data model. 123 seats for the Conservatives. 23 for the Bloc, 2 for the NDP. 194 seats. You know how much that is? That's a lot of seats, man. That's a lot of seats. And if we take a look at 338 Canada, they do their daily updates. And the Conservatives have dropped back down to 130 seats. Liberals stay steady at 178. They've been at 178 for a few days now, which means that they're solidifying that sort of that lead. However, one thing I think could, mess with the Liberals is this. I think this could be one of the stupidest things that any, not stupidest, but I would say one of the unwisest things a politician could do, which is federal leaders debate scheduled for April 16, 17. So that's about 3 weeks or so. But Carney won't participate in TVA debate. So we're going to read this article and I'll react to it. So they meet certain criteria, blah, blah, blah. English debate will be held on the 17th. The French one will be held on the 16th at 8 p.m. So that's interesting. And let's see where I don't know where it says that Mark Carney won't participate. We'll go back to this probably. Oh, yeah. So TVA is also pitching a debate, but Carney's out. So the Commission's debate is not the only event being pitched ahead of April 28 votes. The private French language network, TVA, so TVA, all the guys in Quebec, you guys know what TVA is. I know TVA as well. They're trying to mount a head-to-head French language debate for a cost. So that's kind of weird. I don't know why they would do that. That's sort of odd. Participants would have to shell out $75,000 each to Quebec Core Media and television network said Friday, and needs a total of $300,000 to offset the cost of producing the event, which is kind of like, I don't know why you're making your participants pay for it. That's kind of weird. But they're not going to, he's not going to participate in the TVA one. So that's, again, I think this is slightly misleading as well. I saw a headline on Next, I believe. Yeah. It was Pierre Poilievre. Go on his account. Take a look at this. The Liberals want to be re-elected for a fourth term, but their leader's too afraid to debate me in French. If Mark Carney is too fragile to debate other leaders, how can he stand up to Donald Trump? Let's put Canada first for a change. He didn't dodge a debate. I don't know. Like, he may have dodged this one. Yeah, correct. He may have dodged the TVA one, or maybe he just didn't want to pay $75,000 to participate in a debate. Kind of also ridiculous in my view that I don't think any political party should be paying to participate in a debate. I think that's ridiculous. But he's saying that he's dodging the French one he's still, as far as I'm aware, I mean, he's still participating in this one from Radio Canada. So I think it's, yeah, Radio Canada. If we take a look right here, I'm going to just pull it up on the side. I think I'm 99% sure. Yeah, he is. He is participating in the debate. So again, Pierre, we can't keep doing this, Pierre. We can't keep doing this. This is not necessary. You don't need to do this. You don't need to do this. It's not helping you in any way. Because he's going to show up on the French debate. People are going to be like, wait, what? Pierre Poilievre said he's not going to show up. So again, this is unnecessary. This is silly. I have 2 Liberal ads for you guys, so this is going to be interesting to watch. By the way, I want to rate these 2. This one is somewhere here. Whatever, we already watched it. I would say that one was pretty weak. I would say that was like a 5 out of 10, the one we just watched. And then this one, I think it's even worse, honestly. I think it's even worse. This is not really an ad. I mean, it is sort of. It's a 3-minute clip from a documentary. I think, like, just the fact that it was built on a lie just brings it down by a lot of points. I would say this is like a 4 out of 10. Not an effective ad. People are not going to see this and flip their vote because it's not true. It's not true. And, you know, if you do any sort of surface level research, and you'll probably also find out that it's not true. But if you dig a bit deeper, then you'll find out that's completely untrue. So this is a weak ad. The other one was a weak ad. Let's watch the Liberal ones, and then we'll give the grading for those ones. So this is the first one that we have. They say, we know we can't control President Trump, but we can control our own destiny. Okay. Kind of corny, but okay.
We are facing the most significant crisis of our lifetimes because of President Trump's unjustified trade actions and his threats to our sovereignty. Our response must be to build a strong economy and a more secure Canada. We can control our destiny. We can have a new Canada built by us, for us. We are facing the...
That's not an ad. Okay. 3 out of 10. That's not an ad. That's just an excerpt from his speech. Yeah, I mean, I agree with the point that we should be, you know, building up our own country and I guess taking control of our own destiny. But this is not an ad. So it's 3 out of 10. Not very solid. So this one, I think it is an ad. This is an ad for sure. So it says, why won't Pierre Poilievre get a security clearance? I swear I've seen the same exact line for like the last 5 of their ads related to security clearance. So I'm not saying the ads are bad per se, but whoever's running the Liberal leadership or the Liberal Party's social media, you got to start changing up these titles, man. They're getting pretty repetitive now. 33 seconds long. Let's watch it. Let's take a look.
Your party was the target of foreign interference in the last 2 election campaigns, but you're going into this one without the security clearance necessary to receive briefings on this. When should Canadians expect you to get that security clearance?
Well, I've already had clearance. I was a minister in cabinet already, and the government has the ability to give me any information they think necessary. But what I'm not going to do is go into a process, a politically directed process by the Liberals that they use to decide what I can see and say and comment on.
Your party was the target.
Okay, so you guys saw that with me. Not bad. I mean, that's... They highlight the headlines, which, you know, there's not much substance in the headlines. They're just titles. But I think this is much better than the so-called ad that I just last showed. That was not really an ad, by the way. So I'm not even going to grade that one. This is a pretty solid one. I mean, it's 30 seconds long. You know, it slowly lost... or it slowly started to phase out Pierre Poilievre's actual speech because he didn't give an answer. I remember watching this live as well, and I was like, I actually want to know what he's going to answer for that. And so he gave this vague non-answer, and so they started phasing it out, and they started highlighting the titles. I think this is much better. I think this is probably the best ad we've watched out of all 4 of them. I'd say it's like a 7. I don't think it's extraordinary. I don't think it's awful, but I think it gets the job done, and it definitely is effective with the time that it was given. So with that being said, I mean, these are 4 ads I just showed you guys. 4 or 3.5, I could say, because this is not really an ad. But nonetheless, it's about 4. And so these guys are really ramping it up. So they're spending a lot of money on media, and they're spending a lot of money on campaigning and all that kind of stuff. I also do want to note, I did watch this launch that Pierre Poilievre had. I don't know if I could pull up the clip because I was trying to find it. Basically, he was asked point blank. Someone asked him about, does he respect Donald Trump? And, you know, he gave a vague non-answer, which again, is not really effective, Pierre, because he knows it better than anybody else. I mean, he has people who are telling him every 2 seconds what's going on with the political scene. His close advisors have to be telling him this is going to be an election not about the carbon tax, not about Mark Carney, not about Justin Trudeau. It's going to be about Donald Trump. It's going to be about Donald Trump and the economy. So if you don't denounce Donald Trump and say, hey, I don't respect him. Now, if you say it, I know there's some negative implications there as well. Maybe you can't negotiate with him, whatever. But we don't need to negotiate with Donald Trump. I don't think the Canadian people really would. Like, there's no love lost if you said, hey, yeah, I don't respect Donald Trump. So that's basically what I'm trying to say. At least amongst Canadians, that's what I'm trying to say. Americans may be slightly offended. You know, he might start making more comments about 51st Day, blah, blah, blah. But he's always doing that, so it doesn't really matter. Now, I do want to go and show you guys one thing. So I just want to show one single writing, Carleton. This is Pierre Poilievre's writing. And I know you may be thinking, what is this guy doing? Why are you looking at Carleton? Well, I'm looking at Carleton only because, you know, some people were mentioning, I think a few people mentioned in my comment section, check out Pierre Poilievre's writing in some of my videos. So I was like, okay, I'll check it out. I'm checking this out live with you guys, first time. And I think it's pretty insane what we're looking at. So take a look at this. This is Carleton. Now, I'm not saying by any means that Pierre Poilievre is going to lose his riding. I don't think I'm at that point where I can make that clear statement. I think it's pretty obvious he's going to win his riding as of the current moment. But if you take a look at back when Trudeau resigned, this is the day before Trudeau resigned, it was 65 to 15. He was up by 50 points in his riding. Okay? And slowly but surely, he started to lose support. And the day that Carney was elected leader, it was at that point 56 to 28. So that's about a 28-point gap. So it went from about a 50-point gap to 28-point gap. So they went down by 22. His lead went down by 22, and the Liberals did climb back by quite a bit. If you take a look right here, though, where we're at right now, it's 53 to 33. So Pierre Poilievre lost a 30-point lead in his own riding. Now, I don't live in Carleton. I don't live in Ottawa. I don't know what's going on there. So I don't really know what the climate and the environment is in that region. But I think anybody and everybody can acknowledge that, 30-point loss in terms of your lead is not a good sign, especially for the leader of your party. Now, again, I don't think he's going to lose his riding, just as Jagmeet Singh probably will. Because if you take a look at Jagmeet Singh's, he's had less than 1% chance of winning. He's down by 22 points in his riding. But I'm just saying it's worth noting. Now, Carney, he's running in Nepean, I think. I believe he's running here. So he also has, some things to do here as well. It's 50 to 35, but if you take a look, they did at one point, they were actually losing at one point in this riding. It was 45 to 29. So he definitely has some work to do just to secure that lead. I think anything above 15 points, you're pretty much guaranteed to win. So Poilievre is still guaranteed to win as of right now. But I'm just saying, if this number does drop for either party, might be in some trouble. I don't know. We'll have to cover it a bit more. There's about 37 days left in the campaign season, I believe. Actually, wait, if we just do the math, it's 35 days, actually. So 35 days till Election Day. Guys, this is going to be the biggest election in history, in Canadian history. I'm going to say it right now. I think it is. And so I'm going to make these videos. I'm going to try to make them as often as possible. Again, I only made this video today because I promised one yesterday. But I'm most likely not going to be doing daily uploads anymore. I know. It's kind of sad. I do miss making videos sometimes, but I'm like, I'd rather do quality over quantity because sometimes it's just not enough to talk about, and there would be no point in me recording these videos. So anyways, just let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. What do you guys think about my analysis? What do you guys think about the ads? Again, I try to be as unbiased as possible. I think you guys can tell that. I know there's always angry people, typically conservatives now because they don't like the poll numbers. Before it was liberals that are mad at me. Now it's conservatives. And then I don't know who's going to be next. Maybe the NDP, who knows. But yeah, no, I just want to say again, I try to be as unbiased as possible. So do not take it personally when I say things against your dear leader, Pierre Poilievre. Because at the end of the day, I'm not here to sit here and try to convince people to vote one way or another. I'm just here to show you guys what's going on. And if they start lying, like, he did here, where he just straight up lied, because it's not true that Mark Carney's, he's not dodging the debate. And when he starts lying in a video like this, or whoever narrated this video, I need to call it out. Because not many other people are willing to do it. So again, thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one.